What's new in cloud? What's next in cloud? In this series, Next in Cloud, we dive into the latest cloud technology trends and innovations, bringing you conversations with experts in the field. Discover how Accenture, together with Google Cloud, is helping companies accelerate change, unleash talent, and capitalize on data and AI to get to value faster.
Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of a series what we call Next in Cloud, jointly hosted by Accenture and Google. In today's segment, we'll specifically talk about some of our learnings, some of the tricks and tips that we've seen enterprise take and some of the best practices that they adopt as they think of the multi-cloud world. So when we look at multi-cloud, I think few things that I've seen is a lot of our clients end up in a multi-cloud world by accident. Very few end up there by design. And some of the ones that end up there with design take certain paths to get there. For example, many of the clients who are doing this as design and in a very scalable fashion, I think they end up creating what we call a cloud center of excellence. And cloud center of excellence really is a governance function where they're able to create capabilities, bring the tool chain, think of the decision tree to migrate and modernize applications, think of what cloud is right for which workloads. The operating model becomes a very, very important piece of that discussion. Now, we have some of the best practices around how to build a cloud COE. And all the way from looking at talent, looking at tool chain, looking at which cloud is right for the right workloads. One of such tools that we have in Accenture is something called MyNav. MyNav really can take you through the journey of really doing the discovery, doing the assessment, doing the right set of kind of R's, what we call 7 R's, as to what should rehost, what should retain, what should reimagine, what should be refactored. And a lot of that intelligence is built into MyNav. Taking that and then having a migration methodology and modernization methodology, and then running it at scale. This is where the operating model comes in. Now, in the last segment, we talked about talent. Talent becomes an important point. What's your view on that?
So, talent and culture go together because excellent talent breeds excellent culture, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a virtuous cycle, so to speak. In that context, it is important to understand that certain practices in Google, the SRE methodology, for example, and the whole Google culture, being able to reimagine things in terms of new products, which has been Google's DNA for the time even before cloud came into picture. And we also have a set of talent practices in terms of people of different skills, different backgrounds, different perspectives, bring their diversity in. We have a lot of customers that come to us and say, tell us how Google does it. How do Google engineering teams work? How do you build your own products? And what has been a fulfilling experience for us is to be able to translate a lot of it for our customers, both in terms of education and also to drive those philosophies into the products that we make on Google Cloud.
We see SRE being talked about as a more of a terminology in the industry, even if it's something that Google started. Now, to live in the multi-cloud world, uh, I would love to understand from you as to what are some of the unique features and benefits that Google Cloud brings for our customers when they live in this multi-cloud environment.
Sure. So, one of the things which we talked in the last segment was interoperability. And at the core of interoperability is open systems. Unless you're open and you are able to connect and others are able to connect to you without a lot of friction, you are not going to get to a point where you're interoperable. You're stuck in a walled garden. And many of the early adopters of public cloud unfortunately are in that space at this point. If you look at the Google product suite, and even before we go there, if you step back a bit and look at the canonical design philosophy of Google, it has always been built on open source. It's built in Google internally. It gets to a point of maturity. We think it will add value to the industry, and it's contributed to a foundation. We saw that happen with Kubernetes. We saw that happen with Istio. We are seeing that happen with Knative, and we can talk about many other products as well. When you build an open cloud philosophically, saying that I am not building where my strategic differentiator is to not allow customers to leave my garden, not to build the Hotel California of sorts, where people can enter and not leave at all, but more importantly also to offer a friction-free experience to customers. When you accept the reality that you're on a multi-cloud, you want your customers to be able to move data, to be able to consume where they need it to be consumed, and on whatever services they feel it's best for them. Let me give you an anecdote in terms of the thinking behind all this. When you look at Google's consumer products like Google Mail, Gmail, Drive, or Photos, when you take a photo or send an email, you don't stop to think which data center or which region you're deploying it to. The user just uses it, they know it's going to be available, and they know that the durability for whatever they are storing is there. We expect to be able to offer a similar experience to developers in our customers through an open philosophy, where there are platform teams that have to worry about decision trees, but the operating model is consistent across clouds, and the developer experience is friction free.
Yeah. Nagaraj, really appreciate you being here with us in this segment and this episode. And thank you for your insights, and thank you for sharing some of what you see in the market. I'm sure we'll continue this conversation over a glass of beer. So thank you. Really appreciate it. Folks, this segment, we talked about living in the multi-cloud world. And few things we realized that one, this is the new normal, which means every client of ours will be in a multi-cloud world. And on one hand, it brings benefits of interoperability, the benefits of being agile and flexible. But on the other hand, it brings challenges of talent, culture, tool chain, and many other things. Now, to overcome some of this, we need to think of the cloud COE, center of excellence that you create, an operating model, and also making sure that you have the right set of mindset to take this multi-cloud journey, and you can run at scale, not just in silos. So thank you for your time. Please follow us on LinkedIn, and we'll be able to answer your questions and interact with you through that channel. Really appreciate it. See you soon.